All right, people are starting to come into Tech Squared webinar on password managers. Welcome Emily and Lauren thus far, along with Alyssa. Thank you, Matt, for being here.
Yeah. So we're just going to wait a few minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started.
Sure. And we do have all attendees muted initially. So if you'd like to have somebody comment, put it in the chat or raise your hand. There will be a session for Q&A towards the end. So that may be where we'll actively engage microphones to enable people to ask their question. All right at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, so Aaron, before we get started, I'm just doing this thing. What was your first pet's name? Do you have your first pet?
I'm not a pet person, but I did grow up with a Great Dane whose name was Misty.
Misty. Okay. All right. And what high school did you go to?
Oh, I didn't.
No, I'm trying to reset a password here, Aaron. If you tell me the answers to your security questions, it will really help me reset your password for you.
Actually, really, really good. So Benner was a school that I went to.
Okay. All right. And your mother's maiden name? Don't answer that question. Don't answer.
I never knew that one.
Yeah.
No, I had a really good friend years ago. She worked at a bank and she always answered the questions completely outside of what like if the question was, what school did you go to? She would say bicycle, something completely unrelated to it. But that taxes the mental capabilities of actually remembering something.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, well, welcome everybody. I think we're going to get this show rolling. My name's Matt Pendleton. I'm the service manager here at Tech Squared. I help manage the team and help people with their IT. We make sure we provide good solutions and protect the vulnerable. One ways we hope to achieve that is helping you understand what a password manager is. Aaron is also here with us. I'll let him give a little quick intro for himself, if you can.
Sure. I am going to actually disable my camera once we get started so I can go back and forth with Matt with most of the screen being available to his presentation. But I am Ron Peters, a storyteller of Tech Squared. Enjoy engaging people where they are and seeing how Tech Squared can offer a solution that would be beneficial to their business and to their the protection of their data, which is why we're putting on this webinar in the first instance, and then why we're here for the duration of our client or for the rest of our clients, just to make sure that we are keeping the processes efficient and helping them remain secure. With that, I will bid you all adieu as I turn my camera off and turn it over to Matt.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so for those that got in early, I was kind of pestering Aaron about security questions. So that's kind of it's a great way to talk about password managers, which is having one will help you prevent, you'll have to do that less. Hopefully you have to answer those pesky security questions less. So let me get this going here. Yeah, so let's talk about your current life, your current habits, your password managers, such as Excel spreadsheets. You've got them written down in the top drawer of your desk. You've got them up in your brain. You've been doing the same thing for years and years and years. Or you might be using a web browser. You might be using an iCloud keychain. There's all these different ways that people are managing passwords, good and bad. But there's a few problems with managing them this way. A lot of people have similar passwords or iterations of passwords, or they use the same across multiple services, apps. if you forget your passwords, you're having to reset them often. You have to answer those pesky security questions. But when you do it this way, when you do it with, you know, the old way, um, what about when you're on your phone? You're trying to sign into Outlook Mobile, you're trying to sign into Instagram or LinkedIn or all these apps. How do you get to your password then? So there's a lack of continuity when you're going from device to device to device. So that's, that might be what your current situation looks like. And a password manager can kind of help you get away from that. Um, some security considerations just about using passwords the way that you are now is your personal passwords can leak into work life. Your Netflix account, if you use the same password there and something happens to Netflix, if you use that password in your work environment, you're potentially opening them up and making them vulnerable. So you don't want to get blindsided by that type of thing. Um, so one way to protect yourself is to make the password different everywhere you go for every service. There's a reason why a lot of services now are trying to get you to sign in with Facebook, sign in with Google, sign in with Microsoft. And another big reason for that is these services, they don't want your passwords. They don't want hackers to target them and their databases for the passwords that they hold. They want to be hands off. They want to hand it over to the tech companies. Um, so at the very least, make sure passwords that are out on the edge, like your Microsoft password, Facebook, Google. If you're signing into all these various places, make sure those passwords are unique and different. Um, um, yeah, definitely very important. Um, how can you start? How can you get into a password manager, and how are they secure? Um, Password managers typically have uh, a couple of different methods that you have to jump through as you're getting started. Um, Usually have to enroll your phone for MFA, use an app for authentication, but you'll pick a single secure password, try to make it highly complex. They'll usually give you another something to print out and store safely, offline. If you store it on your device, just keep it safe and keep it secret. But typically you'll have one highly complex password that kind of locks all your other passwords up in a vault. And again, the purpose of this is to it might seem like you're opening a vulnerability. If somebody gets into the password manager, they're going to have every key. But a lot of these providers have deployed different methods of protecting your account or making sure that where the decryption is happening is on your device and not on their end. So they've deployed a number of methods to hopefully ensure their security. We've been using password managers for a number of years, and so far so good. But the goal of the password manager is to help you become more efficient in signing in, having a different strong password, a unique password everywhere that you go, everywhere that you sign in for any application. So, if any of these services you're using, if somebody gets in there and gets that password, they can only open one door. That's the goal there. Another great reason for a password manager would be you can add that app to your phone. These applications have improved a lot. I personally use 1Password. Not recommending any in particular at the moment, but I use 1Password, and it's great to have it on my mobile device again for continuity. So I have the app on my computer, I have the app on my iPad, I have the app on my phone. And it does all the work for me. When I go to sign in through the web browser, it signs me in. If I go in through an app, it signs me in. And so I have that continuity. I don't have to dig for it or switch between applications. So a frustrating thing can be, I know where my password is. Let me get to the spreadsheet, or let me get to the password manager and then copy it and paste it. A lot of the more modern apps, they fill it in for you. So you don't have to see it. You don't have to know how long it is. You don't have to know how complex. It does the work for you. Just having that continuity, no matter what device you're on, it's just going to increase your convenience. The convenience factor goes way, way, way up. Oops. Setting up a password manager. Initial steps are, the optional import of your existing. So if you have your password stored in your Edge browser, in Google Chrome, even in a spreadsheet, the spreadsheet import process might be a little difficult, but usually these platforms have a way to import existing, and it's optional. You don't have to. They can also help you rotate some of your existing passwords. But yeah, the initial setup steps, it'll usually walk you through, or reach out to us. We can help you set up the password manager. So life after a password manager looks very good. Get away from those bad habits. The amount of time on the daily that I save just by hitting the autofill button is it's I can't calculate it. So I wanted to demonstrate real quick just how 1Password works. Say I'm on the Crucial website. This is just for some computer parts, and I want to sign in. So here we have an autofill option that's coming up. Can let that guy in. All right, so we have my autofill here. We're going to hit login. And we're in. Easy as that. Didn't have to know what it was, didn't have to see it, didn't have to copy, paste it. Now I can kind of show you as well, how do we change an existing password? Every website, every service is going to be a little bit different. I found that Crucial's website, how it lets you adjust the password, it's pretty forgiving. Some websites are a little bit more tricky. Type in your current, then type it in and verify twice. But here you can see each time I click in the box, it's generating an entirely new one. Then it's saying, hey, we already have a password. Do you want to update the record? Do you want to update it to the new one? Sure, let's update it. Okay, so we tried to update it. It says, hey, it doesn't have enough stuff. So there's a couple ways we can get around it. Well, this one might work. Done. We've changed the password. So you can either rotate it a few times or just change the parameters, but the amount of effort there, was minimized. I would have been struggling, scratching my head. What password do I want to use? What numbers do I want to add on the end? What do I do? So now I go back to sign in, log in, and we're back in. So, I mean, that in a nutshell is what I wanted to show you and display how you can use a password manager, just to add convenience, reduce frustration in your life. That one's not going to work. Oh, it worked. Okay. Let me go back to the slide here. I know I kind of rushed through a few things, but I wanted to make some time for a Q&A just on any questions on password managers in general. Feel free in the chat to ask some questions. Oh, I see we've got one from Sherry. It says, what's the minimum number of characters that are recommended? I recommend that you go as high as possible. You let the password manager do the work for you if you can. Um, let me, yeah, you want to let the password manager do the work for you so you don't have to think about it. So different websites and services are gonna, they're gonna have different complexity requirements. So the good news is that you can, quickly dial up. Things are, up or down. So um, a lot of password managers will have a generator. So you can, if you just need one off the fly, you don't know what you're going to use it for, you can quickly just rotate through passwords. There's also usually a history you can have. So if I wanted to, I could go in and get the history. So if for whatever reason I updated the password accidentally and I needed to retrieve a previously used password, it maintains a record of that. So that way you're not, putting your account at risk, or if you need to go back a password or you missed a button click or whatever, you can. So, um, Aaron, you use a password manager, don't you?
I do, and I wanted to highlight a couple things in regards. You did go through some of them pretty quick, and I wanted to get kind of an overview because when you log into, so just take the site Crucial for a minute. I'm actually using several different password managers and an authenticator on top of that. But if you log into, say, another site that looks like Crucial but is not Crucial, just say you click a link in an email, which those of us in the IT world are like, don't click links. But you click a link and it goes to an unauthenticated website. You know, that's one of the things that I wanted to really bring up is it's another layer of security to if it's an inauthenticated website, but it's designed to look like the website that you want, it won't pop up the option to autofill. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I wanted that to be kind of a sidecar or tangential impact of password managers is we talk a lot in business about reducing decision fatigue. And I think in the IT space and security space, we always get kind of that thing where we're hovering over our mouse and like, is this legit or not?
Yes.
Password manager will help you with that capability to a greater or lesser extent. It's not something that I would focus on that being a distinct benefit, but oh, okay. I'm seeing the site that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, please, please.
Well, so yeah, I also wanted to bring you to a website. It's a source that we trust. This is a place that you can go to right now. It's called haveibeenpwned.com, and they are an organization that they try to inform you. You can sign up, and they will inform you of whether or not your credentials may have been exposed in a breach. So, as an example, I've gone here, I've typed in a random, it's oneat1.com. No idea who owns it, but if your account has been exposed and this organization has become aware of it, they scan the dark web, they look for it. It will show you all the services where your data may have been exposed, and they usually explain in what detail. They'll tell you when, what service, was it your username, your password, other data. So definitely recommend just kind of going here, type in your email address, type in your personal, type in one you've had for 20 years. See what services pop up. Um, again, a password manager will help you for future incidents where, hey, your Etsy account got, Etsy got hacked and somebody found found all the passwords. You sign up for this, they'll notify you if they've become aware. And then all you have to do is go change your Etsy password. You don't need to change your password for the 100 other websites that you sign into. So,
What I want to highlight there is what you're kind of edging around the edge of is business use case scenario. Why is a password? I mean, I know that we all believe that we shouldn't share a password between accounts, but I mean, sometimes your accounts are, I mean, it's easier, right? To keep your accounts together. There's a story of a family pizzeria in Chicago that their Twitter account got hacked, and that was the same password that they. So I want to kind of chain link the events together as to why a password manager is imperative, because you're hedging around it, saying we need to keep individual passwords, and that just immediately blows people's minds because we have to have 15 to 45 different and unique passwords. That in and of itself is why a password manager. But
yeah.
it also allows and enables and requires you to separate the accounts that can, you said it earlier, very, very briefly, was they get access to one account. They get
Yes.
access to your Etsy account. They get access to your Instagram account, as opposed to once they have a username identified and a viable password, they'll just, bum rush every other account with those two credentials, trying to access as much as they can. Is that accurate?
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. That's a point that you've clarified a little bit. So yeah, what is common is if your Netflix password it becomes known, that the internet finds your password, they try that everywhere. They try it everywhere to see if it works. They try your bank account, they try your Amazon, they hit everywhere. They'll go on LinkedIn and find out where you work, and they'll try your work account. So yeah, again, it's important to kind of keep things separate where you can. So another benefit too, that I can mention is a lot of these services often provide you with an additional family or personal account. So if you get your workplace, if you work with us and get your workplace signed up for a password manager and you roll it out through your company, there is an option to have a personal account provided. And why you would want that is so that you have separation between work related passwords and personal. And if that employee moves on or goes to a different organization, or has a change, they're not taking all of their work passwords with them that maybe you haven't gotten to and shut off access to. So but then also at the same time, they don't lose access to their personal passwords. So these services are very good at offering you good separation of work and personal life, and having the best of both worlds, keeping your personal life safe in your accounts as well as your work accounts. So,
Matt, I know that in our line of work, we tend to focus on keeping as much of the newest, updated, and most available, most prominent resource available. But there are some free password managers out there, and there are some that are subscription based. I think majority of them are subscription based at like $3 to $15 a month or a year. What are you aware of as far as free resources, and how much is a typical password manager?
most of them offer a trial. Most of them offer a 2 week or a month trial, um, which you can take advantage of. And passwords are they're very personal to us, but the experience is important. Do you understand how to use it? The thing is like after a week, uh, whatever you've been using, I almost wanted to call this a shaminar, because everybody that's here, are you here because you're not using a password manager? Shame, shame, right? um, you know, it will take you less than a week to kind of acclimate and learn it. You've been doing what you've been doing for so long. A password manager, it's saving you so much in future pain and unknown expenses from potential breaches. So that's why we're not really committed to. We're not trying to sell you any specific one. Highly recommend, the top ones in the industry are top for a reason, because of their known security, their user experience, or the things they bundle if they offer like a family plan or personal plan with the work plan. So we just want to help you change, improve your password hygiene, adopt something new, and it'll take you less than a week. It'll take you a couple of days to get used to it, and it just it works. So we'd love to work with you all. Um, make some more detailed recommendations if you have any questions.
Say we can see if anybody has a question that they'd like to ask, raise a hand, and we'll recognize and see if they'd just like to have it out there if in case somebody's driving doesn't necessarily want to try to type it out.
Yeah. Let's see. We did get a question from Lauren. It just popped up on my screen, which is, did we discuss password managers and the ability to synchronize between devices? Yeah, I kind of touched on that a little bit. So most of the password managers have apps available in the App Store or the Google Play Store, and you just add them to your device, and off you go. Digital legacy and emergency access. Okay, so I'm not sure the exact context, but I do know that most of these services have a break glass process that you go through during sign up. They make sure that there are ways, additional methods that you can reset your account, whether that's an additional phone number, family member, contact information, or other. But usually they're pretty explicit during the sign up process on what do you do if you forget to do a certain thing. So most of them have explicit instructions. You will want to pay attention. You will want to read the fine print, to understand how will things work if there is an emergency and you get locked out of your password manager. So and I will say, when you go to sign up for these things, don't make your password to the password manager like password manager exclamation point. Make that one a solid choice. Make it something new. um and yeah.
Hey, Matt, Sherry asked, use a password keeper. Is the manager better than the safe? Do we need some clarification on that, or?
Okay, so maybe some clarification, but I would say there are some older password managers that it's just a program on your computer, and it stores it there. You might have a password to get into the vault or whatever, but it doesn't do any auto filling. So there might be like a copy paste, or it's like one step above a spreadsheet. I used to use one called KeePass, and yeah, it just has a encrypted database of some kind. It's just a little password app, but it doesn't talk to or interface with my browser, or I can put it on my phone, but it doesn't have that continuity of a modern app. So
I would say also, I've done a lot of reading into the security of password managers and how they're actually set up, to your point of the break glass reset scenarios. I don't think that there was any safe that really had those levels of security built in, to my knowledge.
yeah, I mean, like I said, each platform is a little bit different, but if you adopt one for your company, and you add users, there is a way to go in and do a recovery. It doesn't mean if you're the one managing the password management service, you don't get to see everybody else's passwords. It doesn't work, but it has a recovery process for those break glass, can't get in type situations. So.
Did we cover all the questions?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to refresh my screen here. There was one that popped up and then went away. So yeah, just you can reach us. I've got the email address below, or hit us up on LinkedIn. However you found your way to the webinar, you probably have a good idea of how to reach us if you want to discuss this further. We hope to do another webinar soon. Not quite sure what the topic will be, but this is one of the few, if not the first one we've done. So we're hoping to set up some more in the future, and try to throw some other topics in front of you all that you might be interested in. But
We really appreciate everybody being here. If we did not get to your question, feel free to leave it in the chat. There will be a recording of this going out as well for anything like Lauren had to step away. Anything that we may have covered that you may have missed, we'll have that recording available and send that out upon request.
Sure. I'll throw, let me throw out in the chat if people can get to it, or if it'll load for me. It's haveibeenpwned.com.
There you go. That's a great resource. I didn't know that we, good deal.
Yeah. Or type in your boss's email. Go, hey boss. Hey boss, your email's showing up on the dark web. You might want to talk to Tech Squared and get that figured out. So,
the questions that we get asked in this industry are probably not things that we want to put out there for everybody else. Like, can you hack me right now? Like, stop. We're not going to do that. We're going to actually try to help you secure your stuff as opposed to show you how to break into it.
Yep. So yeah, appreciate y'all joining this afternoon. Stay tuned for more webinars. Hit us up for questions.
Matt, thank you much for your time. I appreciate you putting all this together today.
Yeah, thanks y'all.
Sir. Unmute. You there?
I'm here. What feeling?
What?
Are we still recording?
Wait. No, it says start recording. I'm not. No. Do I know if we're still recording? No. It says I have an option to leave. Oh. All right, where are you at on that?
I think it was okay. I think it was okay.
Can I say one very huge thank you to you for saying our very first webinar?
Yep. That was very intentional.
Oh.
It's okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
No, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a little bit better. There's a couple things that we learned. I learned, and I was taking notes, kind of trying to learn the entire way through. Cross chat. I don't know what it looked like for me to turn my camera on and off when I wanted to say something. But that was kind of my initial was, ooh, we never discussed how to interject into the conversation because Matt started drawing things out and I was like, God bless, I'm going to throw him a lifeline. So I turned my camera on and I was like, oh God.
Yeah. No, and I think in situations like that, like you are more than welcome to just like turn on your camera or just keep your camera on next time, and just be like, hey Matt, blah 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 blah. Especially because there were some pauses.
Yeah, and that was like, I don't think there were any bailout scenarios, but there were a couple things that I think an interjection or somebody for him to bounce stuff off of. And I don't
Right.
know if he didn't feel like he'd be comfortable bouncing it off me or whatever. I feel like we practiced between you, me, and Chris, but we never had really Matt there to practice to actually go through to your question that you asked him. Hey, are you comfortable with the content? He's like, I'm comfortable with what's going to come out of my mouth. And I'm like, that's where I tried to jump in because he went through MFA like that. And I was like, there's a bunch of people here that have no idea what that is.
Right. Yeah, I was prepared for more like 30 to 45 minutes of content and then 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A, not 15 to 20 minutes of content and then 10 minutes of Q&A.
We literally had all his content done by 12:15.
Yeah. I know.
And I was like,
wrapping up and I was like,
yeah, I was there. I was like, wait, what? How did what?
Yeah, especially because we did talk to him about having 30 to 40 minutes of content.
I got Matt calling in right now.
Okay, you go take